Dan Stevens had a super awkward moment with Andi Peters on today's Good Morning Britain. The former Downton Abbey actor was on the show to discuss his new The Man Who Invented Christmas. Dan Stevens had an awkward moment with Andi Peters on today's Good Morning Britain, but before he had a chance to talk about it, Andi did a link to this week's 90s-themed competition sitting alongside his old children's TV companion, Edd the Duck. Dan, 36, was delighted to see the pair reunited on screen after years spent together in the Broom Cupboard back in the 90s. As Andi finished and handed back to hosts Kate Garraway and Ben Shepherd, Kate said Dan Stevens is gripped. Looking over at Andi, who was wearing a brightly colored check tank top, he said completely rapt, "This is exactly the color scheme that I remember you from." Andi was reunited with Edd the Duck from the Broom Cupboard. Dan said the moment reminded him of his youth, saying, "It's the color scheme I remember." Andi joked he had always been this color in his reply. The moment made Ben Shepherd and Kate Garraway laugh. "It's like being in a time warp." Andi cheekily replied, "Really? I've always been this color, Dan. It's not a tan," before pulling a face to the camera. Dan immediately went red in the face and put his head in his hands as Ben and Kate laughed, with Ben adding, "Boy, that's awkward." Dan could only reply touche before Ben saved him by saying, "While Dan recovers, let's have a look at the clip from his brand new film." Dan went a bit pink as he laughed as well. Dan was seen returning to his seat after a clip from his was played after the VT. Dan was seen returning to his seat, seemingly having paid Andi a visit across the studio to make sure their banter was all in good humor. Kate said every time he does something that goes viral, Ant McPartlin and Joe Swash address those feud rumors. Strictly stars had a one-night stand and are terrified of being caught. May celebs Georgia Toffolo's dad sells old scrap for cash. Have dancers Kevin and Karen Clifton been hit by the Strictly curse? Richard Madeley gets stand in Australia as Judy Finnegan is glum in UK. Jamie Lomas conceals a huge bulge in trunks while showering with Vanessa White. Dan replied, "I love you, Andi," before the camera panned over to Andi, who gave a big grin. One viewer commented on Twitter, "GMB Anda's color comment was so awkward. Did Dan go over to say sorry after?" A fellow viewer added, "Well played, Andi Peters," alongside a clapping hand emoji.